Okay, so here we are in the game. The Steelers are somehow down 10-8 in a very bizarre way that they've gotten to this score. But hey, it doesn't matter how you're here, it just matters what you do once you get here. But they're in a tough spot, right? 3rd down and 9, and let's just be honest, this offense had not been doing anything all day. I mean, basically nothing. This has been a disastrous offensive day. People are calling for the, offensive coordinator Matt Canada to be fired. I heard some people calling for Mike Tomlin to be fired because he's sticking with Matt Canada. 3rd down and 9 right here. The Ravens are doing a bit of an exotic play where it's a zone coverage play, but not in a traditional sense. They're going to be having a blitz coming from the offense's left, so the top of the screen there, and definitely an interesting play to try and just disrupt Kenny Pickett here. So watch how Pickett's going to take the snap. He is going to look over towards his right, and that is the receiver he wants to hit here. This is Allen Robinson, the veteran player who maybe hasn't done a lot these past couple of years, but he's doing his job here. Hey, he knows how to, see a soft spot in zone and turn around. And for Pickett, I mean, he has to get rid of this football right now. He's about to get crushed, and he's going to have to make an accurate throw. Again, 3rd down and 9 here. You can't afford to throw it, not far enough, have Robinson have to come back to make the play. I mean, it's still 4 down territory potentially, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. So got to make sure you make an accurate throw here. But as you see, that is perfectly on the money while getting hit. That's not easy to do, but he made it look easy on that play, and they're able to pick up the crucial conversion there. So, okay, get something going here. But 2 plays later, they find themselves in a very similar spot. I guess technically, after 2 plays, they find themselves in a very similar spot. 3rd down and 4 now. Ravens not going as crazy, although they're still the Ravens. They're going to show blitz, but then just drop back into kind of a traditional cover 3 zone. But because of this, it means that George Pickens is one-on-one on the outside. And, I think there's been a debate of Pickens. We all like Pickens, but it's sort of, is he a true number 1, or is he a very good wide receiver who maybe isn't the true number 1? Well, I've always defined a true number 1 as a player who can win on the outside in a big spot. When people know the ball's coming your way, one-on-one matchup, can you win? Well, this is the big spot. And watch how Pickett is going to take the snap. He looks over, and Pickett kind of in these spots is basically just saying, well, there's really one option on this play. I mean, sure, I could try to wait for something to get open, but we don't know if something is going to get open. Sometimes you got to just hope your player can make a play. So Pickett just throws one up, and it's not even like he had pushed it down the field and made a perfectly accurate throw. That was purely just a, hey, Pickens, help us out here, make the play happen. And that's exactly what Pickens did. He was able to make a superstar level play. Is he a number 1 receiver? Well, if he's not, he sure looks like it, because he's making number 1 receiver type plays, and that might be selling it short with something like that. Gets him on the outside of field goal range, but let's be honest, you don't want to have to kick a 60-yarder to try and win this game. A couple plays later, we're at the 1 minute and 24 second mark here. So, if Baltimore gets a stop right here, you're not in a great situation if you're Pittsburgh. You're in a much better situation than you were all day, for sure. But in theory, if you run the ball twice and don't gain any yards, well, now you have to kick a 57-yarder to try and take the lead. And even if you hit it, which could happen, then you're still up 1. And Baltimore would have a minute and 20, a minute and 10 seconds at that point, maybe a minute left to try and just get a field goal to win it themselves. They wouldn't have to move that quickly. It's a tough situation. So for Baltimore, what they're doing is they're trying to push the Steelers back. They're going with a heavy blitz, meaning that Pickens is once again one-on-one on the outside. And this time, there is absolutely no safety help. So Pickett does what you would expect him to do, is going to take the snap and immediately fire it over, and you see Pickens just does a great job of working on the outside, being able to pick up that win, and working against Marlon Humphrey too. Not exactly an easy corner to be going up against. So great stuff there. I pause it right here because I do think there is kind of a decision to be made here. Now, again, you caught the ball. You're sort of falling out of bounds. Want to make sure you don't fall out of bounds and stop the clock. What do you do in this situation? Typically you got to, go for the end zone. I get it. If anyone plays Madden, you could consider just diving inside the 5, dive at the 2-yard line, right? Because Baltimore would then have to call a timeout. You could then just take 3 knees, run all of the clock out and kill all Baltimore's timeouts, kick a field goal with 2 seconds left. In theory, that's the correct play, right? That is, on paper, what would be a better, your win percentage would be higher having first and goal at the 1 yard line than having a touchdown on this play. At the same time, can I really crush a guy for not doing that right in this moment? No, I can't. It's a difficult situation. You're trying to get to a touchdown, get into the end zone. You're trying to make sure you don't fall out of bounds. At the end of the day, giving your team the lead is a benefit. And, I think it's also fair to say you don't love to have a game come down to a field goal when you're down. Like, that's still a risky scenario. I know it's different situations. It's an easier spot. I'd still rather have it come down to a field goal than come down to your having to make a stop. But again, the way the Steelers defense have played in this game, maybe this is a different scenario. And now let's talk about that stop. Why don't we? It's Alex Highsmith again. TJ Watt keeps getting the credit because he keeps picking up the fumbles that Alex Highsmith is creating. That happened in the Cleveland game, and it's going to happen here as well. As it's when you have an elite edge rusher in TJ Watt, it helps to have another great edge rusher who's really underrated in Alex Highsmith because it gives him some one-on-one matchups. They are having actually a tight end and a halfback blocking on this play, but neither are blocking in Highsmith's direction because they're making sure they block TJ Watt. So Highsmith now gets a one-on-one matchup, and watch what he's going to do with it. I mean, he's just going to blow by off the edge, hits Lamar Jackson, the ball comes out, and these Steelers win. TJ Watt was the one who eventually fell on it. So, good stuff by TJ Watt. And of course, he doesn't just fall on it, right? Of course, he finds a way to pick up more yards after the catch because that's just, or not after the catch, after the fumble recovery, because that's just what he does. But still, great stuff from TJ Watt. Great stuff from the Steelers who, hey, it's just, I don't get how the Steelers do this, right? It makes zero sense how the Steelers do this, but somehow, some way, they just find ways to win these football games. And I do think that, it's, in many ways, I do think they have a good coaching staff. I know Matt Canada issues aside, I think that they do make adjustments well and towards the end of the game can create, especially defensively, but offensively too, they were able to make the right calls at the end of this one. So for as much criticism as I've given Matt Canada, and we've all given Matt Canada, deserves some credit for adjustments made on that final drive for sure. But really defensively, I think how well coached they are and having a great pass rush can frustrate teams, can cause big plays, and can allow you to find ways to, get back into football games. Like, at the end of the day, the reality is in this scenario, this was a disappointing loss by Baltimore, but Baltimore also beat themselves at times. And for Pittsburgh, they never really put the dagger in themselves, right? And that's also part of how they're able to quote unquote steal a lot of these games is because they're not the ones who make the mistakes and they force other teams to make mistakes. And that's how they're able to pull off this victory, despite the fact that, and hey, it helped that the Ravens dropped a bunch of passes too. That obviously helped, but still, huge win for the Steelers, huge comeback. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always, I'm hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.